Okay, so welcome to part 2 of our lecture. So in this lecture, we will be discussing global demography and global migration. So short discussion na lang itong topic na ito. So demographics is the study of a population based on factors such as age, race, and sex. So, an example of demographics is yung census. So, di ba sa census, pinag-aaralan dyan kung uh, ilan ba yung tao sa isang household. Ano-ano yung mga gender, uh, anong mga nasa household na yon, ano yung edad nila, ano yung nationality nila. So, lahat ng yun na finifill outan sa census, that is an example of demographics. So, many groups uses demographics. We have governments, corporations, and non-government organizations. So, para saan naman itong pag-aaral na to ng population? So, for instance, yung government, they study population para makagawa sila ng isang magandang polisiya based on that population result. And also, it can help them in market research or in economic market research. Yung mga corporations and yung mga businesses, they also use demographics to determine how to market their product or service and best capture the target audience. So, pinag-aaralan nila yung population, like, ilan ba yung adults, ilan ba yung mga bata, ilan ba yung mga minors. Kasi doon, pagbabasehan nila, paano nila, for example, sa mga businesses, paano sila gagawa ng ads. For example, sa Pilipinas, alam naman nila na yung mga Filipino are family-oriented. So, they make commercials na makaka-relate yung mga Filipino, na family-oriented. So, another example is yung Coco Crunch na commercial. So, since ang target market nila is yung mga bata, they also make sure na yung commercial is for kids. So, they feature also mga kids sa commercials nila. So, it is valuable to know the current customer and where the potential customer may came from in the future. So, the demographic trends are also important since the size of different demographic groups changes over time as a result of economic, cultural, and political circumstances. We have the demographic transition theory. So, the demographic transition theory is a generalized description of the changing pattern of mortality, fertility, and growth rates as societies move from one demographic regime to another. So, ang focus ng demographic transition theory, ang tinitingnan dyan is yung mortality, ilan yung rate ng mga pinapanganak, namamatay, fertility, rate ng mga pinapanganak, and growth rates. So, the demographic transition theory was a term that was coined by demographer Frank Notestein. So, according to Notestein, the demographic transition has 4 stages. So, stage 1, it is characterized by high birth rates and high fluctuating death rates. So, kung makikita ninyo dito, sa graph na to, mataas yung birth rate, mataas din yung death rate. Sa stage 2, early transition, during the early stages of the transition, the death rate begins to fall. As birth rates remain high, the population starts to grow rapidly. So, dito naman, pababa yung mga number of cases na namamatay. And, habang pababa yung death rate, tumataas naman yung birth rate. So, ibig sabihin yan, mabilis din or mataas din yung population growth. Nag-i-increase yung population growth. Stage 3, it's the late transition stage. So, dito, kung kanina mataas yung birth rate, mababa yung death rate, dito, patuloy pa rin bumababa yung death rate and yung birth rate nag-uumpisa na bumaba din. So, ibig sabihin yan, in terms of growth rate, bumababa din. It slows down. And the last stage is the post-transition. So, post-transitional societies are characterized by low birth rate and low death rates. So, mababa na yung birth rate, sobrang mababa na din yung death rate. So, hindi na gumagalaw yung population growth. So, marami din mga criticisms about the demographic transition theory or the demographic transition model. Kasi, 'di ba sabi natin kanina, ang focus lang ng demographic transition is the birth rate, death rate, and growth rate. So, sabi ng mga critics, hindi nila kinonsider yung mga ibang bagay gaya ng migration. Hindi din na-predict ng demographic transition theory kung hanggang kailan ba sila nasa stage 1, hanggang kailan ba nasa stage 2, hanggang kailan ba nasa stage 3, and so on and so forth. However, the critics took note that yung sa demographic transition theory na tinitingnan yung birth rate and death rate, it's a very important concept, especially when discussing populations and any patterns such as those provided by the demographic transition model. Next, let's move forward with global migration. So, global migration is a situation in which people go to live in foreign countries, especially to find work. So, in short, ito yung paglilipat ng mga tao from one country to another. So, sabi dito, usually nangyayari yung global migration sa mga developing countries. So, yung mga tao sa developing countries, pumupunta sila sa mga developed countries. So, global migration can be understood as a cause and effect relationship, though the causes are just as numerous as their effects. People move across international borders for a variety of reasons. So, here are the reasons why people move from one country to another. First reason is economic reason. So, usually kasi sa mga developing countries, kokonti lang yung employment opportunities. Or kung may opportunities man, ang problema naman, mababa yung sahod. Kokonti yung benefits. Kaya marami yung mga tao, especially mga, for example sa Philippines, mga Filipino, ang pumupunta ng ibang bansa kasi merong mas magandang opportunity sa ibang bansa kaysa dito sa Pilipinas. Aside from that, lack of educational institutions across developing countries. So, may mga courses din kasi na hindi available sa mga educational institutions dito sa bansa natin. Kaya, some of uh, the people, lalong-lalo na yung may kaya na gustong mag-pursue ng postgraduate studies, yung mga masteral na hindi available dito sa Philippines, they go to the other country. So that is another reason for migration. Another reason is political reason. So the unattractiveness of agricultural activities, disaster. So for example, palaging may bagyo. So people also tend to move from one country to another. And also lack of basic amenities, gaya ng roads, electricity, portable water, and inadequate healthcare facilities. This is true lalong-lalo na sa inadequate healthcare facilities. Kasi, di ba yung ibang mayayaman na sabi nila may possible na gumaling yung ganitong sakit doon sa ibang bansa kasi maraming expert ang gumagawa. Maraming mga expert na doktor ang nakapagpagaling sa mga malalang sakit. So, yun. People tend to move from one country to another in search of good healthcare facilities. Social factors, which are the things that affect someone's lifestyle. So, this could include wealth, religion, buying habits, educational level, family size and structure, and population density. Another reason is the cultural factors. So, it's the idea of culture. The idea of culture is vital to understanding the implications for translation, and despite the differences of opinion as to whether language is a part of culture or not, the two are connected. So, we also have the term push-pull factors. So, the push-pull factors are those that drive people away from place and draw people to a new location. So, ang push factor, ito yung mga reasons or yung mga factors that help migrants decide to leave their home. So, yung mga push factors, yung mga nabanggit natin kanina na economic reason, lack of educational institution, lack of economic opportunity, inadequate health services, mga disasters, etc. Push factor yun. Yung mga pull factors naman are yung mga reasons na nakaka-attract sa mga people to migrate. So, for example, maganda yung maraming magandang opportunity ang ino-offer ng country na yon. So, pull factor siya. Kasi isa siya sa reason kung bakit lumilipat sa country na yon yung mga tao. Migration affects both the place of origin and the place of destination on the various aspects such as environmental aspects, economic aspects, health and social aspects. So in terms of environmental aspects, migration of people has the direct effect on both the place of origin and the place of destination. So, malaking epekto ng migration lalong-lalo na sa place of destination or yung mga country na pinupuntahan nitong mga taong nag-move sa place of origin nila. Kasi, syempre, lumilipat sa kanila yung mga tao, edi, nagkakaroon ng overpopulation. So, maaring hindi nila na-foresee na marami pala yung lilipat sa kanila. So, ganon. And aside from that, since overpopulated na, edi nagkakaroon ng exploitation or over-exploitation of resources. As well as pollution. Economic aspects naman, the consequence on the place of origin will be a loss of economically active groups of the population. So, in terms of economic aspects, ang nakaka-feel nito is yung pinanggalingan ng mga nag-migrate or yung place of origin. Kasi syempre, since nawalan sila ng tao, nakulangan na sila ng mga tao na makakatulong sa ekonomiya ng isang or sa paglago ng ekonomiya ng isang bansa. Health and social aspects. So the place of destination are normally those places where facilities are made available to a limited extent. However, the places overcrowd with the constant flow of migrants and facilities and other needs become insufficient. So let's talk about the OFW. So a perfect example of yung migration, yung concept of migration is yung sa mga OFWs natin. So, as we all know, yung mga OFWs or the overseas Filipino worker is a person na mga Filipino or of Filipino origin na naninirahan na ngayon outside the Philippines. So, yung OFW, hindi lang siya limited sa mga nagtatrabaho sa ibang bansa. This term also applies to Filipinos na nasa abroad which are already considered as the citizens of the other country or considered as a permanent residents of the other country. And aside from that, one can be considered also as an OFW kapag they go to abroad for a definite period of time. Ibig sabihin, may plano pa rin silang bumalik sa Pilipinas. For example, yung mga contractual worker, like yung mga domestic helper natin, or yung mga estudyante natin, or yung mga students na gustong mag-pursue ng kanilang studies abroad. So, the life of OFW is not easy. They work to foreign country and sacrifice. So, bakit sacrifice? Siyempre, mapapalayo sila sa mahal nila sa buhay. Para lang mabigyan ng magandang pamumuhay yung family nila. They also sacrifice their life, of course, kasi hindi nila alam kung ano yung magiging buhay nila sa ibang bansa. Kasi, di ba may mga instances na kung mapapakinggan ninyo sa balita, maraming namamatay na OFW or maraming pinapatay ng mga OFW. Lalo-lalo na yung mga domestic helpers natin na nasa Arab countries. So, yun. So, our OFW go and find a job in the other countries so that they will be able to earn money to support the daily needs of their family and give a better future to their family left here in the Philippines. Okay.